my name is Aarti and you're watching SW News. This is our new weekly show called South Connect, and in this segment, we will bring to you all the latest political developments from across the southern states. So let us begin. Let us first start with Karnataka. After 2 weeks of suspense, the Karnataka Protection of Right to Freedom of Religion Bill 2021, which is also otherwise known as the AntiConversion Bill, was passed this week in the state's Legislative Assembly. Now, the bill was passed amid controversy over a series of incidents of alleged attack and disruption of Christian prayers. I have explained what the bill proposes in brief in earlier episode of the South Connect, so you can go and watch the earlier episode and know exactly what the bill proposes. Apart from that, the bill mandates that the person who wishes to convert to another faith shall give a declaration in prescribed format at least 30 days in advance to the district magistrate or the additional district magistrate, especially authorized by the district magistrate in this regard of his residing district or place of birth within the state. Also, the bill states the person who wishes to convert will lose the religion of his or her origin and facilities or benefits attached with it, including reservations. However, one is likely to receive the benefits entitled to in the religion he or she converts to. The bill led to high drama in the assembly with a war of words between the opposition and the treasury benches. The Congress vehemently opposed the bill, calling it anti-people, inhuman, anti-constitution, anti-poor and draconian, and also urged that it should not be passed for any reason and it should be withdrawn by the government. Now, the JDS also expressed its opposition to the bill. However, it was passed by a voice vote, even as Congress members were protesting from the well of the House, demanding continuation of the debate on the bill. Now, the bill will not be a law as of now, as the government has failed to pass it in the Legislative Council. Both the houses earlier this week were adjourned sine die without the anti-conversion bill being passed in the Legislative Council. The BJP government in the state has deferred it to the next session of the Legislative Council in the month of January, when it can stitch up a majority, as it presently does not have the numbers to get it passed. Well, in the other news from the state, speculations were rife about possible removal of the Chief Minister of the state, Basavaraj Bommai. The speculations were fueled due to his emotional address during an event where he said that nothing is permanent in this world, and not even posts and positions. There has been speculation that Basavaraj Bommai is likely to be replaced. The Chief Minister is reportedly suffering from knee-related problems and he may undergo treatment abroad, but there was no official word on this. Bommai took over as Chief Minister on July 28th after B.S. Yeddyurappa resigned on the day he completed 2 years in office. However, the speculations have been put to rest as the BJP termed the speculations around Karnataka Chief Minister's possible exit a conspiracy to create confusion in the state. BJP Karnataka Unit Chief Nalin Kumar Katil also asserted that Bommai will remain the Chief Minister till the next state assembly elections, calling the reports a figment of imagination. Let us now move towards Kerala. The state this week was rocked with 2 murders. The case is now being referred as Kerala's twin political murders. 2 leaders, one from SDPI and another from BJP, died in a violent attack on them in Alappuzha. SDPI Kerala Secretary K.S. Shan, who was 38 years old, and BJP leader Ranjit Srinivas, who was 40 years old, were brutally murdered in a span of less than 12 hours in separate incidents. While Shan was attacked by a gang in Manancherry on Saturday night, Srinivas, OBC Morcha State Secretary of the BJP, was assaulted in his home at Velakinar in Alappuzha on Sunday morning. The police believe that these 2 killings are connected. Meanwhile, both sides are blaming each other for the murders of their own partymen. According to the police, the attack on Shan occurred around 7:30 p.m. He was heading home on his motorcycle when a car rear-ended the two-wheeler. A group of persons came out of the car and attacked him with iron rods and other weapons. He was first admitted to a hospital in Alappuzha and later he was shifted to another hospital in Cochin, where he succumbed to his injuries around 11:30 p.m. The police said the car used by the gang was taken on rent. 2 persons who arranged the vehicle for the assailants were taken into custody that day. Now, Srinivas, on the other hand, who was a lawyer, was hacked by a group of attackers around 7 a.m. on Sunday morning when he was about to go for a morning walk. According to the police, 8 of the 12 people who reached on motorcycle barged into his house and brutally hacked the BJP leader in front of his mother. His wife and children were also in the house when the incident took place. Though he was taken to a hospital, his life could not be saved. According to the police, the attack bears the hallmark of a typical tit-for-tat targeting of a rival. So far, a total of 10 accused have been arrested in the SDPI leader's murder case. Meanwhile, in the murder case of BJP's OBC Morcha State Secretary Ranjit Srinivasan, 5 people have been arrested so far. The state government, led by CPIM's Pinarayi Vijayan, has condemned the murders and urged the society to isolate forces that spread hate and terror in the community. Meanwhile, Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan has said that the Kerala government is utilizing the Alappuzha twin murder issue to denigrate Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh a terrorist status and alleged that the Social Democratic Party of India is a terrorist organization. Let's move on to the next state, which is Tamil Nadu. Hundreds of women working at Foxconn's Sri Perumbudur plant that manufactures iPhones for Apple protested on the Chennai-Bangalore highway for several hours last Saturday. This week, as a result of the protest, the Tamil Nadu government asked Taiwanese electronic equipment major to come up with a slew of measures to improve the working conditions and quality of living of contract employees attached to its operations in Chennai. The workers were worried about the state of over 250 of their colleagues who had taken ill after consuming food provided at the company-provided hostel. A small-scale protest had started from December 15th onwards after many fell sick due to food poisoning. The workers, however, said that there was not enough information given out by the company management and thus the workers staged a protest. Yesterday, the Tamil Nadu government said that Foxconn will begin operations after it was directed to improve the working conditions. The Tamil Nadu government announced through an official release that a meeting was conducted in which senior government officials and representatives of the Foxconn group were present. During this meeting, it was advised to the Taiwan-based company to improve the basic infrastructure facilities for employees such as proper accommodation, restrooms, clean food and drinking water, among others. The release also said that the hostels provided to the employees should have a quality certificate issued by the collector and food should be prepared at the place of accommodation of the employees and it should be served to them on time. The representatives of the Foxconn assured to implement the guidelines as directed by the government. Let us now move on to Andhra Pradesh. Now, the interesting news of the week is from the state of Andhra Pradesh, where Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy hosted CJI NV Ramana, who also hails from Andhra Pradesh, for high tea. For those who do not know the background, let me give you a quick reminder. Yesterday's events were in stark contrast to what transpired almost a year ago. The Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy a year ago had written a letter to the then Chief Justice of India S.A. Bobde complaining about his Supreme Court colleague NV Ramana. He alleged that Ramana, who was then next in line to be the CJI, was influencing the sittings of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, including the roster of few honorable judges. The letter also sought to point fingers towards alleged proximity between Justice NV Ramana and TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu. The 8-page letter had also mentioned an anti-corruption bureau investigation into questionable transactions of land involving 2 daughters of Justice Ramana and others in Amravati before it was declared the site for the new capital of the state. Now, Supreme Court, after an in-house procedure, dismissed the complaint. A year later, however, it was a bonhomie between the two during their first meeting. Jagan heaped praises on the CJI and said a Telugu person had got the opportunity to become the Chief Justice of India after a long gap of 65 years. Justice Ramana, on his part, thanked Jagan for rousing reception. Jagan also gave a grand reception to Justice Ramana and introduced his entire cabinet colleagues to him. Judges of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana High Courts were also present at the event. Jagan walked along with Justice Ramana as the two entered the stadium, after which Jagan introduced his entire cabinet colleagues, senior officials of the government and public representatives. The Chief Minister was seen sitting between Justice Ramana and Supreme Court Judge Justice J.K. Maheshwari. The three were seen smiling and joking on the stage. Let us move on to Telangana. The Telangana government on Saturday banned rallies and public meetings in the state till January 2nd, 2022 in view of the surge of cases of Omicron variant of coronavirus. The announcement comes after the Telangana High Court ordered the state to take appropriate measures to contain the spread of infections. Other events including congregations will be permitted with directions including physical distancing within the venue, no entry without masks, IR thermometers, thermal scanners at entry points, etc. The government has instructed the concerned officials to take all the measures to ensure people wear masks, sanitize hands, avoid social gatherings and maintain physical distance. Now, those found not wearing masks in public spaces will be subjected to fines. Well, in other news, earlier this week, a bill providing for the linkage of Aadhaar and voter ID was passed in Rajya Sabha. After the president's assent, it will become a law. However, several activists and critics raised questions over the move, citing that it will not only impact the voting rights but also privacy rights of the people. We spoke to Srinivas Kodali, a data researcher, who explained how such activity earlier undertaken by Election Commission of India had resulted in hundreds of people from Telangana losing their voting rights. Do watch this. Now, this primary fear of privacy activists is that Aadhaar and voter ID linking may lead to disenfranchisement of targeted deletion of people from electoral rolls. What exactly is the reason behind this fear? What is the basis of this fear?
The basis of this fear is the past linking exercise that has taken place in 2015. The Election Commission has already linked Aadhaar with voter IDs in 2015, part of this exercise called National Electoral Roll Purification Authentication Program, which was shut down by the Supreme Court in 2015 itself. But even in the time period of 6 months, from January 2015 till August 2015, there were at least 40 lakh voters who were deleted in Telangana in 2015. But by 2018 elections, some of them have been re-enrolled into the rolls again. Overall, 20 lakh voters could not vote during the assembly elections of 2018 in Telangana. A similar issue has happened in AP because both AP and Telangana had a common chief electoral officer in 2015. This bifurcation hasn't taken place by then. And in AP, we have seen far worse than voter deletions. We have seen all of this data, Aadhaar voter data, and all the other welfare data with the government of AP lead to the Telugu Desam party, which was then in the ruling coalition, right? So the Telugu Desam party had access to voter data of everybody in the state, and they were using that for voter profiling. And there were several complaints to the Election Commission of large-scale forms being filed to delete voters. Like, I can go file an application to delete you, that you don't exist in my locality. Okay, the thing about electoral rolls and electioneering is that different political parties can go file complaints saying that these individuals are duplicates, they don't exist, right? So large-scale forms were filed in Andhra Pradesh before the 2019 general elections. So whether it was targeted or not is something that needs investigation. There were actually FIRs by the Chief Electoral Officer of Andhra Pradesh. In case of the data leaks, there were complaints which were made to the Election Commission, the UIDI. At every stage, every official was like, oh, the data did not leak from us, but there still was a data leak. That was confirmed. There were enough reports of it. The question is, why wasn't there any large-scale investigation into it? The matter is still pending in the High Courts of Hyderabad, where the company which was involved with, where they had access to this data, there was no judgment on it yet. So there are enough grounds to be worried about this exercise again. Also, after the Supreme Court judgment on Aadhaar, which says it can only be used for subsidies. And voting is not a subsidy, it's our right.
Well, that's it for today's show. If you are watching this video and have some suggestions, please do tell us in the comment box below. And if possible, we will try and add it to our show. If you think a particular news or incident from the southern state is not getting as much attention as it should, please do write to us. We would consider adding it to our show. Thank you so much for watching. We will meet you next week with another video in this segment. Until then, stay tuned to HW News.